All right, let's talk about one of the most incredible turnarounds in, well, all of history. We're going to dive into the story of Ashoka the Great. Now, this was an Indian emperor way back in the 3rd century BCE who started out as this absolutely ruthless, bloodthirsty conqueror and somehow ended up as a global symbol of peace. I mean, how does that even happen?
And yeah, that's really the big question here, isn't it? How does a ruler who is famous for his sheer brutality just completely flip the script and become a champion for nonviolence? It's a heck of a story. So let's get into it.
Okay, but here's the crazy part. For centuries, nobody really knew who he was. I mean, think about that. One of the most important emperors in India's history was basically a ghost, almost completely lost to time. Seriously, for almost 2,000 years, Ashoka was just a name on a list, like a footnote in some dusty old text. People knew the name, but that was about it. His huge empire, his world-changing ideas, poof, all gone, pretty much forgotten. Then, fast forward to the 1830s, and everything changes. This British scholar, James Prinsep, he does something amazing. He finally cracks the code on this ancient script that was carved into these massive stone pillars and rocks all over India. And what he found was mind-blowing. These weren't just boring old records. They were Ashoka's own words speaking to us directly after centuries and centuries of silence. So now that we know how we know his story, let's rewind. Let's go back to his early days. Because, long before anybody called him Ashoka the Great, he had a very different reputation. He was known for being, well, a flat-out tyrant. Yeah, in a lot of the old Buddhist legends, they gave him a nickname, Chandashoka, and that translates to Ashoka the Fierce. And trust me, that was not a compliment. It was all about his reputation for being cruel, his insane temper, and just his brutal, relentless ambition. Getting to the throne was messy, really bloody. Now, look, some of the stories are probably exaggerated to make his later change seem even more dramatic, but one legend claims he killed 99 of his own half-brothers just to clear his path to power. Whether that's literally true or not, it tells you everything you need to know. His one and only goal was to expand his empire, no matter who he had to crush to do it. And this relentless conquest, this drive to take over everything, it all leads to one single moment, the turning point of his entire life. It was a brutal, all-out war against the kingdom of Kalinga, and this one war, it was going to change everything. The scale of the fighting here is just hard to wrap your head around. We know from Ashoka's own writings, his own confessions really, that something like 100,000 people were killed in this war. Just gone. And that wasn't even the end of it. On top of the dead, another 150,000 people were rounded up, captured, and dragged from their homes. The entire kingdom of Kalinga was just completely shattered. And this is the moment the whole story pivots. Seeing the battlefield, the absolute carnage he was responsible for, Ashoka was just broken by it. He was overcome with what he himself called profound sorrow and regret. And he didn't just feel it. He carved it into stone for everyone to see, forever. He wrote about his deep remorse for all the death and destruction he'd caused. That crisis of conscience wasn't just a bad day. It set him on a totally new path. This was a complete personal reinvention, and it was going to redefine not just his life, but the entire way he ruled his empire. So what did he do? He embraced Buddhism. But this wasn't just some private spiritual thing. He turned his new faith into a public policy, something he called Dharma. And this was basically a new way to rule, based on moral law and doing the right thing. Now, you gotta wonder, right? Was this a 100% genuine spiritual change of heart? Or was it also a really smart political move to unite his massive, diverse empire under one moral idea? Honestly, we'll never know for sure, but either way, the result was a total revolution. And look, he didn't just talk the talk. He really put this new philosophy into action. For starters, he pushed for religious tolerance, supporting all faiths, not just Buddhism. Then he started building stuff for the public good, roads, wells, even medical facilities for people and for animals, which was just unheard of back then. And the biggest shocker of all, he completely gave up on military conquest. He said the only real victory from now on was conquest by Dharma, winning people over with morality. And he made sure nobody would forget it by carving these rules, these edicts, on stone pillars all across the land. So, okay,
That's a great story from 2,000 years ago. But why are we still talking about him? Why does he matter now? Well, because his legacy isn't stuck in some history book. It's actually alive and well, right in the heart of a huge modern country.
Take a look at this. This is the lion capital of Ashoka. It's this incredible sculpture from around 250 BCE that used to sit on top of one of his giant pillars. It was a symbol of his power, yeah, but also of his new mission to spread that moral law. Now, does that look familiar to you? It probably should, because that is the official national emblem of modern India. I mean, talk about a direct link stretching across more than 2,000 years. It's amazing. And there's another symbol you'll see everywhere in his work, the chakra, or the wheel. This 24-spoked wheel was his symbol for Dharma, for this idea of a never-ending wheel of moral law and righteousness that he was trying to get spinning. And today, that exact same wheel, the Ashoka chakra, is right in the center of India's national flag. It's a daily, visible reminder of this one emperor's revolutionary idea that a society should be run on principles, not just by pure power. So there you have it, Ashoka's journey from Chandashoka the Fierce to Dharma-Ashoka the Righteous. It's one of the most powerful stories of personal change you'll ever find. But it does leave us with one final thing to think about. A really tough question, actually. Can true change, no matter how big, ever completely wash away a violent past?